As the 1990 election campaign started, Nawaz Sharif made 3 charges against the PPP. Benazir Bhutto committed blasphemy, so she should not vote for the PPP, which means accepting Indian sovereignty. And above all, Nawaz Sharif is accusing her of corruption. In the accusation, it was said that Benazir Bhutto had taken billions of rupees out of Pakistan. And as it is said that history repeats itself, exactly these 3 charges Nawaz Sharif faced after 28 years in 1990. Instead of clearing charges, Benazir accused the army and president of conspiracy. And in the 2018 elections, Nawaz Sharif shared the same story. When Benazir did not get relief from the court, she raised the slogan of the public court and declared she would only accept the public court decision. Who knew that 3 decades later, Nawaz Sharif would be repeating these words of Benazir? But Benazir was not alive when these words were uttered. This is the cruelness of history, meant to be learned, but we learn from history. We do not learn from history. General Zia's voice. Mr. Bhutto's government is over. The voice of President Ishaq. I dissolve the National Assembly under Article 58, 2b of the Constitution. President Ishaq's voice. Nawaz Sharif's government has been dismissed. Musharraf's voice. I wish to inform you that the armed forces have moved in as a last resort. There was a lawnkeeper recruited at Bilawal House in 1988. The PPP government was dismissed on charges of corruption. In this regard, the employees of the Bilawal House were also arrested when they were being interrogated by a secret agency officer. After the Benazir government's dismissal, it came to light that this officer was none other than the lawnkeeper, the same man who had been keeping Bilawal House's lawn since 1988. Shortly after the arrest of the employees, but before the election, on October 11, 1990, Asif Zardari was also arrested in the Una case. His close companion, Hussein Una, came forward with approval. The Una case is a very famous case in the history of Pakistan. In this case, Asif Zardari was accused of tying a bomb to London-based Murtaza Bukhari's leg for 30 million rupees. The case was echoed a lot but never proven. The only evidence in this case was a press conference by Murtaza Bukhari, and its only approved witness was Hussein Una, who died during his arrest in a hospital in the second government of Pakistan. This case was never resolved, but the charge always remained with Asif Zardari. I met this person for the first time. I met him in the presence of the press. And he told all this story. He made noise. News was published in newspapers. The national press reported everywhere that, according to him, Zardari told him to take 50 lakh rupees and go back. He replied, I brought us 2.5 crore. I want the whole money back. I brought the money for charity. Why should I take 50 lakhs of rupees? Then he said, you will not be able to return it, nor will you get your money. Better it would be to save your life. Then the poor man fled back. It was the story. Bureaucrat President Ghulam Ishaq Khan dismissed Bhutto's government under serious allegations. So he wanted to make sure that the PPP could not return to power again, because if Benazir got re-elected, the impression would be that the dissolution of assemblies was a wrong decision. And people were satisfied with the performance of the PPP. President Ghulam Ishaq Khan took several steps to stop the PPP's return, 2 of which were important. First, the interim setup was formulated so that the anti-PPP element was in all major positions. Anti-PPP Alliance IJI, former Chief Ghulam Mustafa Jatoi, was appointed as interim PM. Keep in mind that Jatoi was the PM candidate against Benazir in previous elections, and in this election too he wanted to become Prime Minister after the interim premiership. Moreover, the biggest rival of Benazir in Sindh, Jam Sadiq, was appointed as Chief Minister Sindh, though he was also contesting elections from the Provincial Assembly and was also a candidate for the Sindh Chief Ministry. Even the son-in-law of President Irfanullah Mawat was appointed Interior Minister of Sindh. And so, from the president's side, a stage was set against the PPP. Interim PM Jatoi raised the slogan of accountability by setting up special courts. Cases were registered against PPP officials, Benazir and his husband. The interim government was doing this on the judiciary side, while the same people were there at the IJI election rallies. They used to say in their speeches that they would never allow Benazir to come into power. All this was happening, and the Election Commission was doing nothing. Moreover, President Ghulam Ishaq Khan ordered Army Chief General Aslam Baig to help IJI. General Aslam Baig has repeatedly acknowledged that he did so, but he clarifies that he did so on the order of his supreme commander, President Ghulam Ishaq Khan. Many years later, in 2008, Chief Justice Iftikhar Chaudhry issued the decision in the Asghar Khan case, in which it proved that the military establishment had distributed 14 crores to IJI politicians. Decision that was given by the Supreme Court, in which my stand was in accordance with the Constitution. I said it was a legal order issued by legal authority, President Ghulam Ishaq Khan. Carrying a legal order is not a crime. To keep history straight, we are bound to tell you that when this decision came, Ishaq Khan was no more, so his stand on this issue never came. Apart from the Supreme Court's verdict, there is also additional evidence from the military establishment. Lieutenant General Abdul Majid said in his book that he was given a few lakh rupees from the establishment, which he gave to an IG candidate in Fatah. Another proof slipped from Nawaz Sharif's tongue, whose witness is senior journalist Arif Nizami Mian. Nawaz Sharif met some journalists at Ataul Haq Kasmi's office. This is the time when he was not Prime Minister. He was in opposition and the Mehran Gate case was in court. He said while talking that everyone in Mehran Gate got money, and the money too. The first government after Ziaul Haq's long martial law was dismissed in 20 months is the reason that the whole world, including Pakistan, has doubts about whether an election will be held or not. From the Army House to the White House, there were rumors that the planning of martial law was on the level of uncertainty about the election, such that Nawaz Sharif had to say in newspapers that elections should be held on time. Despite all the concerns, elections were held on time and IJI clearly won. Benazir termed these elections rigged, but foreign observers declared the elections fair in their first report. However, later, the Asghar Khan case proved that the election was not transparent. After the IJI win, the caretaker Prime Minister Jatoi now wanted to be the real Prime Minister. Former Prime Minister Junejo was also a candidate for the PMship, but the name of Nawaz Sharif was finalized at the IJI meeting. So on November 7, 1990, Nawaz Sharif took the oath as Prime Minister of Pakistan. In this oath-taking ceremony, more than 1,000 guests were present, but Benazir boycotted. Nawaz Sharif was the second Prime Minister of Pakistan from Punjab and the youngest male PM. At that time, he was 41 years old, and thus the dream of Nawaz Sharif's father, Mian Muhammad Sharif, was fulfilled. The dream he saw when his industries were taken over by the government in the Bhutto era. When Nawaz Sharif took over, Karachi and Hyderabad were witnessing bloodshed. The Afghanistan and India borders were hot, and the economy was on the verge of destruction. The state-controlled Allied Bank was facing losses of 22 billion Rs. The cement industry was under state control and corruption was rampant. But Nawaz Sharif dealt with all these issues, along with his project on the land where ice ruled. Nawaz Sharif started a project in Antarctica. About what very few Pakistanis know, this project was Pakistan's key success. Ice-covered edge of the world, what honor has Pakistan earned? How did Nawaz Sharif face a collapsed economy? I will show it to you in the next episode.